It's being predicted that this storm season we could see an above normal amount of hurricanes. With up to 19 named storms. As communities prepare for potential impact, we do want to turn to the experts. And today we are turning to the experts of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers who serve on the front lines of disaster preparedness and response. And joining us this morning is Lieutenant Colonel Nate Weander, Deputy Commander of the New Orleans District at the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, sharing some critical tips on what we need to know so we can get ready now. Welcome to the show. How you doing this morning?
Doing great. Thanks for having me this morning.
You know what? Thank you in advance, of course, for all you do for our country. I mean, that does not go lost, especially when it comes to something like this. And I feel like people might not be aware, including myself, what role does the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers play in emergency preparedness and disaster relief?
So we've been doing this for quite a long time. The Corps of Engineers, this is our 250th anniversary. So we're only 2 days younger than the United States Army and about a year older than the nation. So we've been doing this for a very long time. Right now there's 44 districts worldwide. And for those in the homeland, we work very closely with our state, other federal and local partners to be as prepared as possible for any eventualities. So for hurricane season in southern Louisiana, we treat this like a military operation. There's only 2 times a year in the New Orleans district: hurricane season and preparing for the next one. So before the season starts, we'll do a military level rehearsal of concept with all of our senior leaders to ensure we have done everything we can and are as prepared as possible for the upcoming season. Likewise, we integrate with our parishes and local levee district partners and even the state. Last week, we were doing a readiness exercise with the governor and his cabinet. So we work very hard, and that's all 44 districts to include your local district.
You know, that's an interesting way to look at it. Hurricane season and then preparing for hurricane season. I'm going to take that one with me. And I'm curious a little bit about your path, for instance, and what efforts have you been involved in?
Yeah, so I started out as an engineer. I was a civilian engineer. I was a surveyor and a construction manager. Third generation, my whole family built highways. And when I was a young man, we were at war, and I thought I could help. So I talked to the ROTC recruiter and joined the Army. I started out in Alaska, jumping out airplanes. And the wonderful thing about the Army and the Corps of Engineers specifically is we're just such a wide and diverse branch. So after doing some time learning to fight on skis, moved to the Southwest and learned to fight in armored vehicles in southern New Mexico. And when I came out of that job, I knew I wanted to get to the Corps of Engineers. So I heard about the wonderful work they did in the homeland and the emergency response missions. So I started in the Albuquerque district, and my very first day on the job, they gave me a pickup truck, a set of plans and specifications to go help a community that was subject to flooding. And they said, hey, monsoon rains are coming. We need to get as much done as we can before they come. Very similar to hurricane season, and really worked with those local leaders to deliver that project, make it through the season, then get back out there doing it again next year. So I've always thought whenever I have had an opportunity to serve with the Corps of Engineers, just for those real world impacts to American citizens in the homeland. And we're expeditionary. We'll respond to hurricanes, respond to Hurricane Helene. We had Francine here last year, and then LA wildfires as well. We were operational in.
I mean, I don't think that people realize the impact that the U.S. Army does have and all the diversity like you just described there. But I want to make sure we fit in there some tips that you have. I mean, you've prepared, you've seen it. What are things we need to keep in mind as we're in the middle of this storm season?
In the Army, we talk a lot about readiness. Are you ready to execute your wartime mission today? And that's really how I look at emergency management. So you prepare now. Take a look at your family. Do you or your family members take medication? Make sure you have enough on hand to last you several days. Always a good idea to have a to-go bag packed for every family member. So if you do have to evacuate, if your local government officials tell you to, I'd encourage you to evacuate. Have a good plan. Have batteries on hand. Have maybe a brick charger so you can charge USB your devices. Have a radio. Have a good flashlight. Have a plan. If you have pets, it's always important to have a good plan if you have to evacuate. Hey, do you have friends or family that you can go see and take the animals with you, or do you need to start looking for animal-friendly hotels on your way out? Look at the routes ahead of time. Have a plan of where you're going, and you'll be as prepared as you can be, as long as you stay informed.
Well, Lieutenant Colonel Weander, I'm so glad you were able to join us today to have this important conversation. Just educate us, too, on the diversity that makes up the U.S. Army. Thank you again for your service to this country.